Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. What a weekend for us Napoli fans and for football in general. It's a weekend to celebrate because it's extremely cold in Turin at the moment. Minus 28 points is the gap between Napoli and Juventus. Obviously, guys, I need to start off the episode talking about Juventus. I have to. 15-point penalty. It's not even the end of the story. The 15 points that were taken away for Juventus are just on the plusvalenza case, which is practically how they were selling players for prices that didn't match the market value of those players, but not once, not twice, but there's 14,000 documents of proof that the Italian courts have used in this case. 14,000, not 14, 14,000 over a span of over 40 different player transactions. So the amount of times that Juventus was doing this stuff is crazy, absolutely crazy. And Juventus fans will come and tell you that other clubs have done that as well. Maybe other clubs did it once, maybe twice, but Juventus had a systematic approach to doing this and made it really part of the way they operate, made it part of how they ran their business. And that's the key difference. You know, it's as if, I don't know, guys. I mean, let's see, how can we compare it to? Imagine you're writing a paper for university, right? And you copy one sentence out of a one-page paper. Okay, you shouldn't be doing that, but it's one sentence out of a whole page. Juventus copied the whole page. That's pretty much the why. You know, we're looking at two different things, right? It's really about the intention behind it, the systematic approach that Juventus had. So, yeah, when Juventus fans are talking about that and why are other clubs not involved, it's the intentions are different. And Paolo Iannicello asks, but Dom, will Juventus win the appeal? Will there be more consequences? Guys, I doubt that they're going to be able to win the appeal. I mean, their board has left. They are guilty. There is absolutely no possibility on this earth that Juventus can somehow get away with this. If you are not guilty, you don't leave the club. Instead, all of Juventus's board has left, even before this decision came out. So, I mean, they knew that they were super guilty, like super, super, super guilty. And again, we're talking about 14,000 pages of evidence. But as I said, this is just the plusvalenza case. This is just them operating in a really shady way with other clubs. Juventus, on top of that, have the falsifying financial statements issue as well. So not only were they trying to sell players at markets values that were way above what they were worth, but really way above what they were worth. Not only that, but they also falsified their documents. That's a whole different story. And it's not likely going to be something that Juventus gets penalized on this year. But maybe in a few years' time, then we'll see another case of Juventus getting some points deductions, because let's remember that this plusvalenza case is something that dates back, maybe starting, the first time I've heard about this was maybe a few years ago. So it takes time for them to come to this conclusion. So Juventus, it's not done for them. And not only that, but UEFA will probably give them some sort of ban as well for this case, and UEFA might give them a second ban for the other case, the financial irregularities. The other difference, guys, between Juventus and other clubs is the fact that Juventus are quoted on the stock market. Now, why does that matter? Because when you're quoted on the stock market, you have to abide by a different set of laws. And you reap the rewards of being on the stock market. People are buying your stock, they're giving you their money, and this is money that Juventus has used to buy players, to finance their activities. And that means that because that's happening, because you're receiving all this money, you've got to make sure that you are hitting high standards of behaving well, of not falsifying your documents, just the bare minimum, really, of being a decent club. And you can't have the cake and eat it too. You can't get all this money, you can't be on the stock market and also not abide by certain laws. So Juventus, again, if the fans start asking why is it that you guys are not getting penalized than we are, it's like, dude, we are operating under a different set of laws. You chose to go there, you chose to be on the stock market, not us, right? But this is more for the falsifying the balance issue. This one about the plusvalenze would have been regardless of whether Juventus is on the stock market or not. But anyways, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia is in the chat and says, ciao fra, saluta Sofia, mia figlia di 9 anni, ciao Sofia. So Kvicha, or the guy called Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, wants me to say hi to his daughter, so I said hi. Let's see some more comments, guys, and also we will obviously be talking about the Salernitana game, but I had to start with the Juventus news. And guys, make sure you are smashing that like button. There's 71 of you and 29 likes, so almost half of you haven't shown me any love yet so far, which is disappointing, because I thought after this great weekend then we would be seeing a bit more love, but alas, that's not the case, which is very sad. Anyways, a few more comments, guys. Hafiz Yusuf says, let's go Napoli. Adam Miller says, Elmas might become a huge player for us if he keeps this form. Since the break, he has been one of our best players. 100%. Elmas was key ever since coming back from the break. Some great performances, and he was involved in both goals today. One with a great pass, a little 1-2 with Anguissa, and then the second one, it was his shot that went off the post. Once Alvarado is healthy, Spalletti should just start... Who's Alvarado? What is... Who's Alvarado? Spalletti should just start Elmas on the right until his form suffers. He is visually such an upgrade over Lozano and Politano. I don't know who Alvarado is, Adam. I think that's a typo. Jacksu says, easy half of the season, 50 points out of 57, great stuff. Guys, 50 points out of 57 is unreal. It's unreal. And Jacksu reminded us of that with his comments. If we play the next half a little worse, and we still probably are going to win the Scudetto. Yeah, I think we could win the Scudetto averaging, I think all we need is 40 points. I think the Scudetto, if we can get to 90 points, then it should be okay. So we've got, we can screw up three to four games more than we did in this first half. In the second half, obviously, it would make things extremely tight with Milan, but I feel like 90 points should be enough to win it. Also because I don't think Milan and Inter are gonna keep up with us with our pace. Especially once the Champions League comes back. Out of the two, though, I would say I'm a little bit more worried about Inter. They seem to have come back from the break really, really strong. Justin Turano says, so does anyone know how many more points Napoli would need to clinch it? I don't know, man. I think for now we're safe from relegation, which is something that Juventus can't say, for example. But yeah, we're definitely safe from relegation. I think we've got Champions League in the bag, for sure. And I mean, for the title, yeah, let's see. I'm hoping we can win it by end of March. That would be nice, in 2 months. Just be like 15 points clear, then you're pretty much done. Yeah, let's see how that goes. This side is capable of 90 plus points if they keep focus and intensity, he continues. Inter need 80 points and Milan 85. In the past few years to win the title, which is crazy to think because we needed 91. a few years ago. No, we got 91 a few years ago and finished second. So, but yeah, clearly, I think with 90 we can be sure to win it. I think. Omar Lewis says, with Juventus down to 10th, that's one more obstacle out of our way. Inter and Milan are both still scary. Yep. Mike Ekstad with the $2 donation. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for supporting the channel. He says, I do or don't need to donate per comment. I forgot. Mike, man, you really don't need to be doing this, but I appreciate the support. And yeah, hopefully I can pay you back with a beer or something if we ever meet. Z Space A says, I'm worried about Lozano and Zielinski. They're playing poor football. I agree. Zielinski, I think, was the worst player on the field today. And the free kick that he did at the end, which I don't even want to know how far that went from the goal, that was really bad. But really, really bad. Whereas Lozano, I feel like in the second half, improved a little bit, and I didn't want to give him a red score, like something below a 6, but I mean, it was difficult. I was debating whether he passed the game or not, whether he deserved the 6 or not. But we'll get to the player ratings later. But yeah, he looked lost today, very lost. First half, I think, pretty much useless. Napoli Nation TV, what's up with the $20 donation? Guys, what are you doing? Daniel Bowen doubling up Dom. Why? Because Juve. And then the little emojis. And we all know what it means. Guys. But yeah, Napoli Nation TV, guys, make sure you are subscribed to Napoli Nation TV. They are making videos every single day pretty much on their channel, which is great, and I've been watching, and it's good. So keep that up, guys. Lorenzo says, can't find Juve on the Serie A table. What happened? Just woke up from a coma. Yeah, you've got to scroll all the way down, but they are a finished club. Fabrizio, ciao Fabrizio. Hi Dom, beautiful win. I would say maybe not beautiful in the way that we played, but a beautiful result and a beautiful weekend. And guys, it's a derby day, so I can't remember who said this, but you don't play derby games, you just win them, right? And that's what we did. We just won them. Traore would work well with Osimhen, says Boomer. So we're talking about Adama Traore, the huge guy that plays for Wolves. I think he would be, between him, Lozano, Politano, okay, maybe there might be something there that we can improve on, but it's not the level of player that I think Napoli should go for. I think Napoli, because they're so dominant in Serie A, because they can really now attract the best talent, I think we should go for players that are much better than Adama Traore, Let's go for someone that can give us 10 goals a season on the wing, right? I don't think Adama Traore can do that kind of stuff. Let's see some more comments. Payment Dad Garza, Dom, being a public company point is true, but the point deductions by the league are not related to that. Talking about the Juventus thing, yes, and 100%. I was talking about the falsifying the financial statements, which is super bad that Juventus did, but what Juventus got penalized on today wasn't even about that. So that's how bad Juventus are in the mud. And he continues with a $449 donation saying, by the way, thank you, saying Lozano and Zielinski will leave because ADL want them on lower salary. That impacts Zielinski, who's mentally weak. Politano is poor too. Good job, Napoli Nation TV, 100%. Shout out to them. And yes, so let's talk about Zielinski a little bit, because you know what surprised me the most actually was over the week against Cremonese. Obviously, we got kicked out of the Coppa Italia. No video was done because it finished super late, so we didn't get a chance to talk about that game. But something very interesting that happened on that game was that when Elmas got taken off and we needed to change captain, and he was getting taken off for Zielinski, instead of giving the captain's armband to Zielinski, because obviously Di Lorenzo wasn't on the field, instead of giving it to Zielinski, Elmas or Zielinski had to pass it on to Meret. So we're talking about a player, Zielinski, who's been at the club longer than Meret, who's played many more games than Meret. I mean, Meret spent his entire Napoli career playing 50-50 with Ospina, pretty much. And yeah, just maybe not a huge part of the team over the last few years. And yet, Meret is seen as a more captain material than Zielinski, and that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem, not necessarily for Napoli, but for Zielinski and for how we see Zielinski as, how important is he actually for this team? How important is he for the changing room? I think that moment showed us that maybe he's not the most important player at the moment. I mean, not that he was, but you'd think that, I don't know, man. You'd think that once Hamsik leaves, once Insigne leaves, once Mertens leaves, once Koulibaly leaves, you're thinking, okay, when is Zielinski finally gonna develop into a leader? And he hasn't. Payment Edgar continues with a, I don't know why you're donating, bro, but thank you so much. He says Zielinski is 10th most capped player at Napoli. That's an incredible stat. That's an incredible stat to be in the all-time top 10 and not be given the captain's armband once Elmas walks off the field, instead it gets given to Alex Meret. Is crazy. It's crazy in my eyes. And we've had an interview from Osimhen this week, and he was talking about the leaders of this team, and he was mentioning people like Mario Rui, like Di Lorenzo, like himself, and he didn't mention Zielinski. And again, I find that speaks volumes on the leadership of Zielinski and his lack of mentality. So going back to his point, Payman's point about him being mentally weak, yeah, I can see that. And obviously the contract negotiations might be bothering him and Zielinski, him and Lozano a little bit, because they were both awful today. But I was kind of nice with Lozano in the player ratings, which I kind of regret. Anthony Navarro says that he's on the same wave. And yeah, bro, the Zielinski not getting that armband and passing it over to Meret, I was telling my buddy, mentally weak, 100%. Lusty OG says, to be honest, I didn't think Chucky had a bad game. I thought it was just about average, and based on lack of creativity, I saw it as acceptable. He got a 7.0 on SofaScore versus Elmas with 6.7. That's crazy to me. These rating agencies, man, oh my god. It's very clear that there's no one watching the game, and they're just counting how many passes someone plays. Or, they probably counted Elmas's shot off the post as a shot off target. And the one and it led to Osimhen's goal, and then the one that Lozano had, which got blocked by the defender and led to nowhere, they counted as a shot on target, and so Lozano got a better rating there. It's like, guys, there clearly needs to be someone that watches the games to give a player rating, which is why I try to do it. Not saying I'm doing it well, but I try. Anyways, guys, before we get to more comments, just want to remind you to keep smashing that like button, because when we get to, I don't know, guys, about 80 likes, then we're gonna go on to the match review. So, but unless we get to 80 likes, guys, I'm just gonna keep talking about nothing. So make sure that you smash that like button. Do it for the channel, do it for me. It helps me keep going. Otherwise, guys, if the channel dies, then that's a problem. So, and the only way the channel doesn't die is if the algorithm keeps proposing it to new people, right? So we need this algorithm to make this channel pop. It's just the way it is. Anyways, more comments. I hope Napoli retires those lip jerseys, says Antonio Tonti. Man, I'm so glad that we didn't play with that today. And I think because we lost against Cremonese, we won't ever see those jerseys again. Because thankfully in this case, Aurelio De Laurentiis is a bit, superstitious. So I don't think he'll play with a shirt that he's lost, that the one game it's played in before. Eric Lamela says Salernitana were afraid of losing by a lot of goals. They were sitting back even while they were losing. Yeah, Salernitana are anti-football, man. Anti-football. Anthony Navarro says, love seeing Osimhen score. Reminds me of Cavani a lot. Elmas, I'm so happy he was off the bench. Not many minutes in the first quarter of the season. He has so much hunger and passion. I'm so happy he gets time. Same, and I'm happy he's entering a phase of form in the right moment, because it's a moment where, Kvara right now had a bit of influenza, maybe. Politano and Lozano are not doing so well on the right wing, so Elmas could definitely go into that position in the next few games. So very happy with that. I think there's some Chinese New Year celebrations going on outside my house. There's a lot of noise. So if you guys hear stuff, then you know what's happening. And let's see some more comments. Villarreal's Chukwueze will be perfect for that right wing. I hope so, says Hafiz Yusuf. Man, I hope so. EKW says Forza Napoli. It really is cold over here right now. You could see the rain and cold getting to them, and I think that's. Look, I don't want to sound like. I don't know if this is true, but I think that maybe Spalletti didn't put all 5 substitutes in because it was too cold and rainy, and he was just like, why would I put these guys on the field? The game's 2-0, it's done. Salernitana are not a threat. Why am I going to risk these players getting a cold out there? I doubt Spalletti thought that, but I don't know. Maybe he did. I mean, I would have hated it to play today. I would have just, if my team was winning 2-0 and there's 10 minutes left, the last thing I would want to do is enter that field if I'm on the bench. I'd tell the coach, just keep me on the bench, right? And it's probably why I never made it as a football player, because I would think like that. But you know what I'm saying, right? If there's one game you don't want to play in, it's this one. It was cold, rainy, no away fans. Nah. How are your master study going, Domenico? Asks Heidi Beats. Yeah, they're going okay. They're going okay. Busy. But hopefully I can find some time to do a few more videos instead of just the lives. I think from September to December it was busier than what it's going to be from now on. So let's see how that goes. And he asks, how was the game, by the way? Like, did we dominate or the goals came from nowhere? I think okay, so we dominated, but it wasn't like we had 10 attempts that were, incredible attempts and clearly then we had to score. No, it was like we had 2 or 3 good chances and we scored twice. So we were cynical with the chances that we did have, but I don't think we worried Salernitana's goalkeeper as much as maybe we should have, considering how much of the ball we had. And we'll see why with the match analysis. We do have more than 80 likes, which is good. So we can move on to the match analysis. I'll get 2 more comments. Guy Roberts says, I wonder if Zielinski has struggled to change from being an all-out 10 to more of an 8 like Odegaard and is instead struggling like Ozil did in that change of role. I'm not sure, man, because Zielinski, there was times when he was playing in this position that he was incredible and times when he's not. So he's very much an inconsistent player, and it's not really to do with the role. It's more to do with the fact that he's inconsistent. Maybe one thing gets to his head, like contract talks, he gets distracted and he's done. So yeah, I think it's more for that than the role itself. And Jacksu wants a little review of the Coppa Italia game and what it means for you. All right, a little review of the Coppa Italia game, and then we'll go back to the Salernitana one. So for me, look, I'm disappointed to get out of the Coppa Italia. I think we had a chance to win the competition, and I love winning, so why not, right? It only means an extra 3 or 4 games if we go all the way in the Coppa Italia. We have a team, a squad that I think we can handle that. We're not a thin squad. We've got players to handle that, and it would give some important minutes to people like Simeone, which I think is important. So I'm a little disappointed, and it's disappointing that it happens when the starters come on. I think Lobotka and stuff came on, and maybe they underestimated Cremonese, right? I think the subs started the game with the right mentality because, yes, they conceded an early goal, but they immediately turned it around, which is even harder to do. So they had the right approach, and then the starters came on, and maybe their desire wasn't quite there, right? They thought, okay, whatever, I'm just doing a little appearance here, just to whatever. And it's like, no, the guys, you're playing a competitive game. This is just like as if you were playing Serie A. You've got to go out there and give it 100%. But yeah, so I'm disappointed in what we consider the traditional starters instead of the substitutes. And yeah, I mean, I think there's some noise in the background, guys. By the way, as I said, there's some fireworks. I think it's Chinese New Year that they're celebrating. I don't know why, but they've been doing this all day outside. And or they're celebrating the 15-point reduction in Juventus's league table. But yeah, there's a lot of noise in the background, guys. I'm sorry. If I open the window, by the way, it's as if you will be outside, because at least this window here blocks off, I would say, 90% of the noise. But yeah, if it gets too much, my bad. I apologize. But let's go into the match analysis, guys. You've been waiting for a long time. We'll do match analysis and then we'll do the player rating. So, okay, let's start off with the very start of the game, because I think this screenshot tells us a lot of where Napoli found it difficult to break down Salernitana. So, unlike a lot of the other teams that play against us, Salernitana decided not to press Lobotka. Instead, they decided to press the potential passes that Lobotka would or press the players who Lobotka might potentially pass the ball to, right? So Zielinski, Anguissa, Elmas, Lozano, they were super marked, and when Lobotka received the ball, he was kind of lost on who he had to give it to. The only player that was ever free was, you can see in the top right, was Giovanni Di Lorenzo. And that becomes a key moment or a key thing in the game. And I think when Napoli discover that, as the first half goes on, then Di Lorenzo becomes more and more important, and he's the one that eventually gets the goal. But it's interesting how already from the start of the game, we see how that could be a situation that develops, right? But we'll get back to this a little later, and we'll see how. So if we go in chronological order, the next thing that we point out is that Osimhen did have a chance from a corner, and Ochoa made a good save. He's a great goalkeeper. And Osimhen did well to get a shot there. But maybe the more dangerous opportunity came from Salernitana, which was a Piontek run in between 2 to 3 Napoli players, and gets a shot off on his left foot, and Meret did well to save that effort. It was right on him, but he found himself ready. And we then see this. We then have this other situation here where Osimhen scores a goal, but it's offside, right? And the interesting fact about the situation here, it's really noisy outside. The interesting thing about this offside goal is Di Lorenzo's position. Look at how he comes into the space, right, in between the lines. As I said before, everybody else is super marked, right? You've got Zielinski marked, Mario Rui marked. In this case, Elmas was able to find a pocket of space for himself as well by moving in the same line as Lobotka. So you can see, for example, that they're kind of on the same horizontal. So Salernitana are not pressing that horizontal area. But what Di Lorenzo does is that he says, okay, no one's marking me. I'll go down the middle, and I'll pass the ball over to Osimhen as soon as it arrives to me. And Osimhen, does well to take a shot on target and score, right? Even though it's fractionally offside. But like very, very little. But it's this quick passing by Di Lorenzo, which is great. It shows that he was on it today, And I like the fact that he identified that pocket of space for then Osimhen to exploit. And really, this was the first time that we did that we moved positions around. Elmas came back, Di Lorenzo came forward, quick passing, because before that it was very, very static. And then we get to the goal that we score. So we have this beautiful 1-2 between starting off with Anguissa. He finds himself then passing the ball across or pulls it back across the box. And again, who do we have coming into the space? It's Di Lorenzo, right? He's again not picked up by anybody. He identifies where the space is, receives the ball. He's really smart to not take it first time because the ball's coming quite fast towards him. Takes a touch and then beats Ochoa, and this is a very good finish. Nearly misses, but just about manages to get a goal, and this was on the 47th minute of the half, so really the last kick of the game. So patient build-up by Napoli, but again, after a brief moment of passing the ball around left to right, there was some quick movement, quick passing, and good movement from Di Lorenzo. And then we get to the second goal, which Osimhen scores, and that was from a rebound from one of the Elmas shots. So Mario Rui passes the ball to Elmas, who puts himself in the middle of the two lines, and Elmas does really well to turn around, find some space for himself. Mario Rui continues his run, so he drags some defenders away. But Elmas does really well. I think the way he opened up the space here, no one really expected him to do that. Gets a shot off the post, and again we know Osimhen scores that. And then the last little scare of the moment of the game was when Di Lorenzo, instead of passing the ball to Meret, which is what Lobotka is trying to tell Di Lorenzo to do here, he instead passes it to Lobotka. Lobotka is a little bit surprised by that, and the ball goes to Piontek. He takes a shot first time, and Meret makes a great save, which goes off the post and goes out. And this is really, really a good save, guys, because when you're a goalkeeper and you haven't had anything to do for over an hour, and it's raining and it's freezing cold, and all of a sudden you're asked to save a shot, guys, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, that's a goal. 9 times out of 10, goalkeepers are not making that save under those conditions. But Meret, man, what an improvement from this guy. He is so concentrated. Like against Juventus, when he saved that shot from Rahmani, that reflex save, again, there you had to be super, super concentrated, and he is showing that he is super reliable. Yeah. LKLDL707 says, Dom, but it's also going to burn players more if we play the Coppa Italia. We need to focus on the league and Champions League. It is what it is. Paletti tried to win it with the bench team. It didn't work. Oh well, now we can focus more. Again, see, like, I think that bench team was enough to win it, and we were winning it. And it was 2-1 until the 87th minute in the Coppa Italia, and then we put on a bunch of the normal starters and they lost it for us. So I think it was a mentality issue rather than the bench isn't good enough to win it. The bench was good enough to win it. It was the starters that didn't focus. RM says, Ciao da Brighton. Today we won, but I didn't see passion in the team. What do you think is the problem, guys? I think the passion was there, because to go and win a derby game, I think you need passion, you need some level of intensity. But at the same time, guys, the conditions were difficult today. It was cold, it was rainy, and it's a derby game. You know, the crowd were against Napoli the whole time. The players, Salernitana players, were sitting super tightly in defense. So, you know, it's also difficult to show passion and show hunger and all that when the other team just leaves you with the ball, right? There was no midfield battle. There wasn't a way for Napoli to show fight, because we just had the ball and Salernitana sat deep. So how do you show fight in that situation? All you have to do is be patient and try to somehow find space in between the lines. And to be fair to Napoli, we managed to do that twice. We managed to score 2 nice goals, and other days, other years, maybe we wouldn't have been able to. Carl Romero says, this game really highlighted to me how good Cannavaro is. His ability to break a team's shape with his dribbling ability cannot be understated. Has been absolutely critical to Napoli's success this year. I 100% agree. We really missed someone that could dribble past players today, especially, and someone that can, Cannavaro likes to get into little pockets of space, turn very quickly, and we missed that. The one time that we did it with Anguissa in the first half, and then the one time that we did in the second half with Elmas, we scored goals. So, it just shows how important doing those things is, and Cannavaro is the king of doing those things. Let's see some more comments. Antonio Mascolo says, hello everybody, and Dom, Forza Napoli sempre. In your opinion, if Gollini arrives, will he mark the end between Napoli and Meret in June despite the excellent saves? No, I don't think so. I think Meret has now, found a team that believes in him, found a coach that believes in him. I think he's enjoying his football right now. And Gollini arriving is a bit of a strange move because it's more competition for Meret as opposed to Sirigu. But I really think it's because Sirigu didn't want to be there anymore. I think, he expected to play a few games and it became clear that he wasn't going to do that. And, maybe wants to try finishing his career in a different circumstance. Whereas Gollini, what does he benefit from this? He enters a team that's gonna potentially win the Scudetto, so that's something for him to celebrate at the end of the season, hopefully. And maybe he does feel like he can challenge Meret a little bit. I doubt Spalletti though will start alternating him and Gollini. I don't think he'll repeat the same mistake that he did with Ospina or other coaches did between him and Ospina, that they start alternating. I think if Gollini wants to play in this team, he's going to have to do something incredible on the training ground, is my opinion, especially now that we don't have the Coppa Italia anymore. But I can't see Napoli wanting to give Meret away. He's got a pretty low salary, he's still pretty young. I don't see why that would be the case. Jacksu says, what do you think of the new coach of Salernitana today? Did he do well replacing Nicola? Guys, Salernitana are a joke of a team, of a club, man. How do you fire someone and then after 2 days hire him back? That's so crazy, guys. But, respect to Nicola, man. I like that coach. He saved Salernitana last year. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he saved Salernitana last year. And a few years ago, he saved Crotone from relegation. So I've got nothing but respect for that coach. Even though today, what's he doing? He needed to do better. He needed to propose a bit more in attack. We can't have Serie A games like this. Guys, we almost have 100 likes. We have 95. So keep those likes coming, and we'll go to the player ratings, okay? If we get 100 likes, we'll definitely go as soon as we get to 100 to the player ratings while I read some more comments. Paolo Iannicello says, Napoli isn't going to give 100% the whole game versus an anti-football team. Bro, 1 or 2 goals was clearly enough. On many occasions, we should bite, especially 1v1. Yeah, I agree. There was no reason to show more bite once it was 2-0. I think all things considered, the fact that it was 2-0, the fact that it was raining, the fact that it was cold, the fact that we are coming from a loss at the end of the day from Cremonese, I think 2-0 in a derby is a good result. Byron says, Dom, that osimhen offside goal on his weaker foot was fire. So unfortunate that it was offside. Dude, I know. That shot was crazy. On his left foot, beating Ochoa in the front post. Oof. That was good. That was good. All right, guys. Let's go to the player ratings. This is what I got. Here's the thing, right? Ever since I did these, which is only about half an hour ago, or maybe an hour ago, But since I did these player ratings, I do want to change some scores, right? I'm thinking maybe giving a 7.5 to Osimhen, because he was super unlucky with the offside goal. And, you know, I really liked it. I really liked it. It was technically on a very, very high level. And yes, it was offside. Yes, it doesn't count. But I'm wondering whether I should reward that a bit more. So, yeah, maybe I would give Osimhen a 7.5 instead of a 7. But anyway, the 7 is still good. And, you know, he didn't score the winning goal, but he was active in the first half and getting a few chances. And it was difficult for him to do more because he was super marked. But even though he was super marked, he managed to find the goal in the second half. And that second goal, even though it's not the winner, it's the one that killed the game. So that needs to be rewarded. The fact that he was the most alert in the box when that ball came bouncing back off the post. Elmas, 6.5. Again, maybe I could give him a 7 because he did really well. But I think 6.5 is fine. I really liked Anguissa. Every single touch that he had was great, and he did a great assist for the first goal. But like a really good assist, because he did that 1-2. Great movement with that 1-2. And if you think about it, it wasn't even on his side of the midfield. He went from the right side to the left side to make things happen, right? And that's because Zielinski wasn't able to do that himself. So he took matters into his own hands, and he probably thought, right, I can either stay on the right and try to link up with Lozano, and I don't know how that's going to go, or I'm going to go to the left, take Zielinski's place, and try to link up with Elmas, and maybe there I have a bit more chance of things working out. So, look, I don't know if that's what went through his head, but maybe. I mean, that's what would have gone through my head. I would have, if I was on that side of the field, I'd be like, oof, yeah, let me get to the other side. Let me work with Mairurui and Elmas as opposed to trying to do quick passes with Lozano. No disrespect to Lozano, guys, but Elmas is on a different level right now. Lobotka, Rahmani, Kim, I didn't particularly like them, guys. Honestly, I think they could have done much more to help Napoli build from the back. I think they could have taken more initiative. Sometimes we see Kim take the ball and charge at teams. I feel like he could have done that today, but he didn't, because we were missing creativity, right? We were missing something, and none of those three players did that. I feel like Lobotka hasn't been playing so well since coming back from the break. Didn't have a good game against Inter, didn't have a good game against Cremonese. I don't think he had a good game today. Almost gave the ball away very cheaply. Well, he did give the ball away very cheaply for Piontek to almost score. So I worry about Lobotka's form, about his concentration. And I don't like that he doesn't take more initiative. Like, when you are winning a game and playing well, then it's okay to just play that number 6 position where you turn very quickly and pass the ball, very short passes here and there, right? That's great. That's very great. But there's some games that are scrappy. Some games where you have a lot of space. For example, in this game here, he had a lot of space, right? This is how much space he had in the midfield to do stuff. And I feel like when he receives the ball in these areas, he should be a lot more direct and try to maybe dribble a few players, try to, I don't know, do some long balls towards Osimhen, try something, right? But he instead would receive the ball here and pass it then to Kim or Rahmani or Mairurui, and just always these backwards passes today. I don't really know why he wasn't more thinking about going forward. So yeah, so that's why for me it's a 6 out of 10 only. You know, not bad, but I don't know. And instead the wingers did well. The fullbacks. Di Lorenzo with the goal. Mairurui almost got a goal. How crazy would that have been if he had scored? And then my man of the match, guys, is Meret. As I said before, I think, who knows what would have happened if he didn't save that shot with 10 minutes to go. If he didn't save it and Salernitana would have scored, Napoli would have had to, the whole team would have had to suffer for the next 15 minutes. We would have lost so much more energy. We maybe could have conceded a second goal. And if we had not won this game, could you imagine the media pressure that would have been on us after losing to Cremonese? Oh my God, it would have been stupid. So Meret really saved Napoli today, and this could be maybe one of his most important saves that he did. I didn't like Zielinski, offered absolutely nothing, and I found it worrying that it was Anguissa that had to go on his side of the field for the first goal to make something happen. I didn't like his free kick at all. It was horrible. The worst free kick I've seen possibly ever. It didn't even look at all close. And I didn't like Ndombele, man. Like, you're coming on with 10 minutes to go and you get a yellow card. Dude, come on. Like, for kicking the ball away, this guy's head is nowhere. This guy's head is nowhere. He's technically such a good player. And if you are on Twitter the past week, you would have seen this compilation video that someone did. It's like 2-3 minutes of him only against Cremonese being an absolute baller, right? And I agree that he's maybe technically our best midfielder. Technically speaking, he's the most gifted, talented midfielder that we have, and there's a reason why he was worth 70 million at one point in his career. But this guy's head is just not in it. Because if you're telling me that you're winning 2-0 and it's the 90th minute and you're going to kick the ball away for no reason to get a yellow card, like, dude, come on. Like, think. And that's the problem with Ndombele, is that sometimes he doesn't think. And talent is just not enough at this level. And I don't think Napoli will buy him for next season. I just don't think so. Let's see some comments. Ossi always putting out his best, says LK. Yeah, 100%. Ossi's been on fire this season, and you know, even if he doesn't have the most spectacular game, for example against Juve he was incredible, but today he was average. Even when he has an average game now, he scores, or he's able to pull off something quite spectacular, which is that offside goal, which obviously doesn't count. Yeah, you know, it's not like he was super involved today. But you know, a 7 out of 10, guys, is a super good score. It's super good. Like 8 out of 10 is already like you're heading into maybe one of your best games of the season. So 7 out of 10 means a good game, but we've seen Osimhen do so much more. So that's why I can't give him more than a 7. Lobotka is worrying. Hope he will step it up more, says Jacksu. Yep, I agree. Rui helped create both goals. Maestro, says Vincenzo Bertillo. Yeah, Rui is something else, and actually he probably deserves more than a 6.5. If there's one person I would change, it's Mauro Rui, maybe, for sure. I think he deserves a 7, so that's my bad. Payman Dad versus Politano, again very selfish. Anguissa asked for the pass in the 92nd minute, but Politano was selfish. Rahmani is also a liability. In summer, we need a right wing and a center back. These two positions are key. Yep. I mean, a right wing for sure. We can't rely on Politano and Lozano any longer. It's been like 4 years that we don't have a decent right wing. And Rahmani, I think he's a good center back. I think he's solid. He hasn't come back from the break very, very, very well, though. Very concentrated. So that is something that we need to take a look at. I personally think we have a solution in-house already. I really like Ostigard. But I mean, I really like Ostigard. Like, I like Ostigard. He is... What I saw from this kid in the game against Liverpool at Anfield, I thought he was the real deal. And he needs to be given more time. Let me remind you guys that when Ostigard joined Genoa, okay, in the first... And Genoa was relegated last year, so they were a horrible team. But in the first 8 games that he played for Genoa conceded 0 goals. Can you imagine? You walk into a team that's struggling, that will eventually get relegated because they started off the season so bad. They will eventually get relegated, and you come in as a youngster, and all of a sudden you don't concede for 8 games. Like, come on, man, this is like Maldini level defending, you know. Obviously I'm exaggerating there, but I just know that he's got something in him. I really do think that next year he's gonna get the starting spot, and I think we're gonna reap the rewards. I really think so. Where is Diego Demme? Don't tell me he left Napoli. I want to see him playing, says Blue Line. Diego Demme has not left Napoli. I think there's rumors of him leaving, but I think Spalletti is trying to convince him to stay. It doesn't help that we're out of the Coppa Italia, because that would have been games for him to play. Why he didn't play in the Coppa Italia against Cremonese, you might ask. Well, because the same day his daughter was born. So this guy is just super unlucky. I mean, not unlucky, his daughter was born. It's not an unlucky event. But you know what I'm saying, right? There's 365 days of the year where your daughter could be born. When does she actually come to this world? On the one day that you're probably going to start if it wasn't for this. So he is kind of unlucky. But I wish him the best. But yeah, I mean, if she was born today, then the other day on Wednesday he would have played. But instead she was born on Wednesday. So it is what it is. Napoli Nation TV says that was a Scudetto save from Meret. I 100% agree with you. And he says, did you buy a plane ticket yet, bro? So I do have a plane ticket for Naples, but not for the last game of the season. I have it for the second to last game at the Maradona, so the third to last game of the season, when we play Napoli-Inter. I have my ticket for that game. Well, not for the game. I have my ticket for Naples to go see that game in Naples. I don't care what will be going on in my life at that moment in time. I don't care whether they organize exams or whatever in that period. I'm going to be in Naples on that weekend, because I think that's the weekend where things could get quite fun. I think we have a chance to wrap things up before the final game. RM says, I would put Demme or Gaetano for a game or two instead of Zielinski. I think Gaetano and Demme are more that holding midfield role. At least that's maybe how Spalletti sees them. So the place where Lobotka is at the moment. I'm not sure he sees them in that role where Zielinski is playing. It would be a nice experiment, to be honest. But I think the more likely scenario is that when Kvaratskhelia comes back from his flu, that Kvara will take back his left wing position, and maybe Elmas drops into the midfield instead of Zielinski. Antonio Tonti says average ratings today. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a very average game. It was quite boring, let's be honest. It was a boring game. We didn't create too much, and just a few standout performances here and there, but very, on an individual level. Space says Demme is injured. No, he's fine. He's fine. It's that his daughter was born, but he should be fine. Felix Peter says, wow, so glad I met you live today, watching from Nigeria. I watched the game. It was a normal reaction from Salernitana after conceding 8 goals in the previous game. What's up, Felix? And yeah, exactly. Salernitana, at the end of the day, guys, they conceded 8 goals a few days ago. So for them, they needed to play defensively. I mean, they had 4 or 5 guys on osimhen at times. So osimhen, for him to even get a goal is really good, because if you go back and look at the goal that he scored, he was being marked by 2 people and he got the better of them, right? He basically was the most reactive on the field. So the one chance that he had to take, he took. And yeah, Salernitana didn't make it fun for us. They made it quite boring, actually. But it is what it is, guys. They're a struggling team at the moment. And if Napoli have osimhen fit for the rest of the season, Scudetto is done and dusted, says Senuara. I think so. I think with osimhen playing, I'm not saying you're guaranteed a goal every game, but at least every other game you're guaranteed a goal, and with Cannavaro as well, you're pretty much guaranteed a goal every other game. Put that together and you're guaranteed a goal one per game, right? Which is, it's nice to think, statistically speaking, that, it's not statistically speaking because I can't make the statistics up on the spot. But I mean, if we go by that logic, then we do have one goal per game, which is, it's nice to know that as long as you keep it tidy at the back, that you have a chance of winning. Have you done the upcoming schedule yet? No, let's move on to that. You're right. Let's move on to the next games. We've got a big game on Sunday against Roma. Okay? Big game against Roma. And Roma are now all of a sudden magically tied for 4th spot. Okay? Because of this whole Juventus thing where they lose these 15 points. I mean, the top 4 used to be Napoli, Juve, Milan, and Inter, with Roma quite a bit back. Now, Roma all of a sudden find themselves tied for 4th. Like, let's take a look, guys. So let's go here, right? They have 34 points, just like Atalanta and Lazio. So all of a sudden, their chances of getting into the Champions League have gone up dramatically, because before they were a few points away from the top 4. Now they're tied for 4th, which means that the game against Roma is going to be much tougher, much more intense than we maybe expected a few days ago or a few weeks ago, right? So that's going to be difficult. And then, look at that beautiful side of Juventus 10th. That's beautiful. Beautiful. And then the other thing that's actually quite interesting that's happening in the next few games is that Milan doesn't play until like Tuesday. So they've got to wait this whole time before they play again, which is going to be interesting. Anyways, Roma, let's see, maybe Kvara, maybe Kim might not play that game against Roma. I think that Kim was on 4 yellow cards already, which is a bit of a worry. But anyways, after Roma, we've got Spezia away. Then we've got revenge against Cremonese at home, even though they'll be fired up for that game because they'll think, wow, we've done it before here in Naples. Let's do it in the league. Then a game against Sassuolo, who have been quite quiet this year, I would say, Sassuolo. Obviously, they're going to do the game of their lives against us, but Sassuolo have essentially, they lost Scamacca and Raspadori in one summer, and they've essentially gone off the radar of Italian football this season. And then after that, we've got Frankfurt, which is finally when the Champions League comes back. We've got this game on the 21st of February, and then we've got the return fixture all the way in March, in the middle of March, after 2 or 3 weeks. So it's a slow start to the Champions League, but come middle of March, it will be maybe the most important thing we'll be talking about as we go through the competition, hopefully. Actually, no, I think we'll be talking about the league as well because we're doing so good. But, it'll be interesting. It'll be quite nice to see Napoli do well in the Champions League as well. It'll be the first time that we get to the quarterfinals if we beat Frankfurt, which will be nice and something that the club deserves. Let's get some comments. Ostigard did a mistake against Cremonese in their first goal, but he is a great defender. He can play against Roma. I really do think that he is a good defender. He can play in place of Kim, still more reliable than Juan Jesus, who I think today was sick. Not sick, but Juan Jesus today wasn't on the squad because of some incident in training. So he was slightly injured, but not sick. Dom, it's 5 yellow cards, then a suspension. Yes, I know that, Paolo, but I'm wondering whether he was on 4 before this game and then he got a yellow card today, so that would make it 5, or whether he's now on 4. So I need to need to Google that. How many yellow cards does Kim have this season? Let me see, guys. Kim Min Jae. Kim Min Jae. Let's see. Yellow cards 4. Okay, it's just 4. Okay, we can be calm about that. According to the internet, according to the Google, it's only 4, which is good. All right. We're good. It's only 4. Kim's gonna play against Roma. Right. What we need to do now is just take a look before we end the stream, because we've been talking for a long time. Is we need to see what Spalletti has to say, and I wonder if they're gonna ask him a little bit about the Juventus situation. It'll be quite interesting. Oh, but also Meret had something to say to DAZN. So actually, let's start with Meret. What he had to say. He says, we always had the game under control. I was called into action a few times, and in the final few minutes of the game, I remained on my feet until the very last minute. I was very good to go down at the right time and to do it quickly. We did a great game. We had a lot of attention, patience, and maturity. We didn't concede very much. I'm very happy for the season so far and for what we're doing. I want to continue to work like this. I'm hoping to bring home as many wins as possible. And regarding the table, we do look at it, but we are only halfway at the halfway stage. We need to think game after game because it's still long. And I'm sure those Napoli players had a good long look at the table this morning when they woke up and they saw Juventus in 15th. Not in 15th, in 10th, but with a 15-point reduction. But let's see what Spalletti had to say now. They asked them, you guys controlled the game quite well. And what effect does it have on you to have 50 points at the halfway mark? And he says, look, the boys today were incredible. They have, done really well to win the game. We were a little bit under rhythm in the first half, and we had some possibilities to enter some spaces, but we didn't maybe use them all the time because Salernitana did well to close those spaces with all the men they had behind the ball. But anyways, we maybe could have done more because even when that happens, there were spaces. And regarding the 50 points, they are a lot. It's time to give the players the congratulations that they deserve, because it's a symptom of many good things that they've done in the past few months. The city deserves it, and we're in perfect synergy and not synergy, but sintonia with the city. Sintonia is like when you're in sync with we're in sync with the city, is what Spalletti says. And we sleep very well at night. Nicola prepared the game quite well, the Salernitana coach, and we needed to make sure that we moved the ball quite quickly. And once we did that, then we found some more spaces. Our 50 points, we did them 100% deservedly. And even Sarri did quite well with 47. But we don't want to compare ourselves with that team. At the end of the day, the difference between 47 and 50 could be down to one single moment in one single game. So let's not say that we are a better team than Sarri's. We need to stay humble. Di Lorenzo is the bearer of ideas on the field. He would have been captain with anybody who was coach of this Napoli team, because he's got those qualities. He's an incredible person, an incredible player, and he's got a quality that many people don't even realize. I thank him for his availability, the quality that he puts on the field, and I think even the players should give Di Lorenzo a big thank you for what he does. The captain is someone that tells you where to go and how to go, and Di Lorenzo does that. Salernitana, they were playing super defensively, not a lot of spaces, and yeah, we did well with Anguissa in the first half to have found a pocket of space to exploit, to go about that dribbling that he did. He was very direct, and to help us score that goal. The next games are going to be very difficult. There's some very good teams behind us in the table, and they're going to want to do a lot of results one after the other as well. So we need to make sure that we keep up with this rhythm. We need to keep analyzing our games, keep analyzing where we need to do well, and Elmas is also doing a really good job. We need to also give a big thank you and congratulations to Elmas, because he did good. He has great quality. Sometimes he loses the ball a bit too much, but he's an incredible player. But if I really have to give my congratulations to a single person today, it's Meret, because he was half an hour under the rain, not having to do anything. He didn't even sleep very well because he had fever last night, and he was incredible in finding himself ready for that shot when it happened. And regarding the 15 points deduction to Juventus, for us it doesn't change anything, because we've still got Milan and Inter behind us who can still fight for the title. We know we have an occasion ahead of us that may never happen again. We need to do everything possible to remain humble and keep being professional, and hopefully we can reach our goals. So that's Spalletti, guys. That's Spalletti, and I hope that you guys liked his press conference. I think he said a lot of interesting things. He highlighted the importance of Meret and the growth of Meret as well, which I think was incredible today. Which I don't think Meret last year would have done these saves. I don't think so. Has Napoli ever gone past the Champions League last 16? Says Eric Lamela. No, we haven't. We haven't done that. We obviously won the UEFA Cup with Maradona in the 90s, at the time where the UEFA Cup was, I think, at times maybe a more difficult competition than the Champions League. Because here's the thing, in the Champions League, the teams that went there at the time were only the winners of whoever won the league title the year before, right? But it was missing all the teams that finished second, third, fourth, which would then play the UEFA League. And a lot of the times, come the next season, it was those teams that finished second, third, and fourth, which would actually be the ones winning the title then in that new season, right? Because they would boost their squads, this, that, and the other. So at times you would have some editions of the UEFA Cup which were more difficult than the Champions League. So no, we haven't reached the last 16 of the Champions League, but we have won the UEFA Cup in a time when I think at times it was more difficult than the Champions League. So, it's not like we've been useless in Europe in the past. We do have history in Europe. But okay, that was ages ago. So if we consider the last 20 years, then no, we haven't done well in the Champions League. We haven't got past the round of 16. Paolo says, does anybody know how many points we had last year at the halfway stage? I think we might have had around 42 maybe. Let's Google this right now. Serie A table. Guys, did the mic... Oh no. Guys, the mic went down. My bad. The mic went down. I don't know why. The sound went down. Is there a Juve equivalent to Arsenal Fan TV? I wish there was. I wish there was, man. But yeah, that would be... I would pay money. I would pay money to do it. And Mike, you don't have to pay every time you want to comment. Anyways, guys, sorry about that whole mic thing. I don't know what happened. You know, these streaming things can be a little bit annoying at times and unreliable. And I think that it's starting to lag a little bit as well. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for joining the live. Thank you for... By the way, the last year points, I had a look. It was 39 points. Okay, it's just a matter that I didn't have the volume when I said it, but I did say it. So I don't know. Maybe if there was some lip readers, they could have found out. But yeah. Anyways, that's it for me. And let's see, is there more comments? No, I think we're good. We're good with that, guys. So that's it for me. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the table with 50 points. Yeah, enjoy this Napoli team, which just keeps on winning, guys. And as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.